Rabbeinu died. It also happened to be the day that he was born 120 years earlier. There's no coincidence that he born and died on the same day. I want you to bank that information. It's important. Okay, so before he dies, he wants to give the Jewish people a little bit of chizuk, a little bit of warning. He wants to strengthen them and warn them because they're about to go into Israel. Leadership is finally going to go from Yehoshua, who he had integrated into the leadership position of Israel, which isn't always so easy. When a great, great leader dies, someone takes over, and that someone isn't always appreciated. Oh, you think you're the leader? I was with Moshe. He was so good. He was the greatest prophet. Who are you to tell us what to do? It was, however, I think in Jewish history, the most seamless transition of power in Jewish history. From Moshe Rabbeinu to Yehoshua. I don't want to talk about it right now, but Moshe did a number of things that allowed that to happen. Many times, L'Avdil, a dictator, a great leader dies, and the transition is not so good. Right? The sons argue, the daughters argue, the grandkids, the whole country argues. You know, it's not so simple as who's going to take over. Here it was done exquisitely. Having said that, it's still difficult. They love Moshe Rabbeinu. He dies. His words are going to mean that much more. And the first words he says to them on the day that he's about to die, because he knew this was his last day, he says, Atem nitzavim hayom. You are standing. Standing where? We know we're standing. What are they doing? Sitting around? So all the rabbis jump on this very famous, and that's actually the name of the parsha, Nitzavim, and they jump on this word and they obviously this doesn't mean literally standing. It means something much more important. And I don't think for the past 75 years, these words have had more relevance to our people. Let me tell you exactly what he meant when he said you're still standing. You see, in the previous parasha, which was the end of another speech he had just given up to this point, he'd gone through all the klalot, all the tochachot, all of the rebukes and the prophecies that are going to come to the Jewish people if we don't do the right thing. And there were over 90 curses, lo aleinu, although we've seen many of them if you ask me recently, many curses the Jewish people would have to undergo. So Rashi and other commentators say the Jewish people were freaking out. What are we, crazy? We and our children are going to go through the worst times of Jewish history. How are we going to survive? We're going to be held to such a high standard that no other nation is ever going to have to hold on to. So Moshe Rabbeinu finishes that speech, which was the end of the last parasha, and says, you're still standing. You got through it, and you're going to get through it. I think it's really important words, because I can say to you today, and I say to my daughters, and I say to my friends and family, Atem nitzavim. We are standing. We've been through terrible things, and we're still going through. We don't check our phones like we used to, once a day to look at the news. All right, we check it every hour, every minute to see the matzav in Israel. What's happening? Every moment there's another attack, there's another challenge, there's another anti-Semitic outburst somewhere in the country. Someone sent me today photographs outside Columbia University. Someone had drawn swastikas on these big, in New York, 2024. You can't make this stuff up. If I would have told you a year ago we'd have a swastika problem in New York, would you believe that? Had I said somewhere in the middle of the country, has some downside, you'd be like, oh, okay, nishkefelach, I hear. I get it. If I'd have told you in some, random Middle Eastern country, okay, I hear, that's what they're into. But here in New York, the chutzpah to do such a thing. And yet, Moshe Rabbeinu is not just talking to them, as I'm going to tell you. He's actually going to say specifically, I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to every single future generation that is going to see the curses that are going to come upon the Jewish people, which are not for no reason, of course. And I'm saying you're still standing. You're still here. And by the way, I should mention, I always ask, what's the greatest miracle in Jewish history? What's the greatest Jewish miracle? You would have thought, create Yam Suf, splitting of the sea, Purim, Chanukah. We've had a lot of, Jewish history is rich with miracles. The greatest miracle, I'm telling you, without a doubt, is the fact that we're still here. It literally defies all logic the Jewish Am Yisrael are still here. And today I'm going to double down on that Eretz Yisrael is still here, right? Because we got ownership of that as well. That, my friends, everyone asks the greatest miracle in Jewish history, the fact that we are standing here today to say we're Jewish and, we love Israel, we're Zionists. You know what I'm saying? That is the greatest miracle. I mean, if you don't get beaten up by saying you're a Zionist or you're a proud Jew, that is also a miracle, unfortunately, today. That's where we are, my dear friends. Atem nitzavim, he said it to them, and Moshe Rabbeinu is talking to us.